Good.
You are now in the pre-show.
So, and we'll be in the show very quickly.
Oh, by the way, you should be able to see the timer now. Can you?
Yep.
Okay, cool. In fact, I can use box number 4 for the timer. Let me turn off my. There you go.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, let's see. Let's see who accepts the stream. Twitch has accepted the stream. YouTube has accepted the stream.
Okay.
Facebook has accepted the stream. When the
We're on.
timer says on the air, you're on the air. Okay.
Wonderful. Oh, thanks. Welcome to Talking Peace with the Western New York Peace Center, being recorded here at Think Twice Radio in the home of the future, also the home of our friend and producer, Richard Wicca. Thank you, Richard. And I thank our friends at WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative radio station, 91.3 FM, being taped and broadcasting out of Buff State University. We love our friends at Buff State. And we're happy to be taping some of our shows right in studio. But this one is being taped at Think Twice Radio. So anyway, we're grateful for all the people who are helping us so much. And that makes me think of our Indigenous friends and the fact that we are now, most of the people who are listening to this, certainly in the WBNY area, are on stolen Haudenosaunee land, land of the Haudenosaunee, of the Seneca, the Onondaga, that was taken through trickery and violence. And when I think of our Indigenous friends and also our friends of color who have been enslaved, who have been either dragged here or booted out of here, or so many ways that people have been oppressed. Still, for oppressed people, thankfulness has been such a big thing. And so we are thankful for the people that are gathered here now, thankful for you who are listening, thankful to Mother Earth for giving us all the things we need for a good life here on Earth, and for the wonderful plants and animals, living creatures of all kinds, for all the trees, the water, living water, and the sky world, so many things, and of course the Creator and the love that animates it all. And so then our Haudenosaunee friends would say Nyahweh, and then the people would say Nyo. So I invite you to say, I'll say Nyahweh, and they say Nyo. So Jerome and Donna, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for saying that, and thank you for coming on again so soon. So here we are, and talking peace this time. This is the criminal injustice, the criminal justice system, part 2. So we just did a show last week, and it's just because of the heinous things that are going on right now that we felt called upon to do another show this very week, just a week later, because there's so much happening in the criminal justice field. So I want to thank our two of our guests, both of whom were on last week. Shout out to Chuck Culhane, who we love you, Chuck. So Chuck is not on this call, but right now we have Donna Robinson. Hi, Donna. Now, both of you can turn on your camera if you would for the video that is going along with this audio. But anyway, so for people who were listening on the radio, they don't really care. But when our YouTube channel, people will love to see your faces, and I love to see your face while we're talking. So, Donna, thank you so much for coming. Donna, you are just a legend in all of your compassion, your commitment, your stalwart, always pushing for more justice in the system for friends, family, and just the whole community. You're such a kind and courageous leader. Donna, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I cannot resist speaking out against injustice, so I am grateful that you have invited us back tonight.
Oh, well, I'm so glad that you were both able to make it. And Jerome, another legend in his own time. Jerome, you have done so much for, again, incarcerated people and their families and for the whole community, because the whole community is suffering with the injustices that happen in this injustice system. So, Jerome, I'll just mention, the Jails Justice Network and the HALTsolitary campaign of the Center for Alternatives to Isolated Confinement, both co-directing, and we're so grateful for you.
Thank you, Vicki. Always a pleasure to do this with you, to have an opportunity to talk to our people, telling the truth as we know it and see it, and hope that by giving them this truth that we can all work together to change most of this injustice that's going on. I think Malcolm said it best, or was it Martin? Martin, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And until we learn to embrace that philosophy, we're going to continue to be at the hands of those who want to visit injustice upon us. So hopefully talking about this tonight, other people will join the movement.
Right. Oh, we've got plenty to talk about for that tonight, tomorrow, next week, every chance we get. So I'm so grateful to be here with both of you. And I want to say this topic of the criminal injustice system, it never ceases to just floor me how very dysfunctional, or call it functional, call it dysfunctional, how very damaging and traumatizing this system is. So before we go any further, and I get on my soapbox, which I already, I'm sorry, let us just start off with the values that we think of, and we're really already touching on them, but the values that we think of in connection with the criminal justice system. What are the values that we think of? So Donna, if you want to mention a couple of values, a value or two that you think of with what's important about the criminal justice system, the values that you think are important.
To just be compassionate and have a sense of humanity. We are human beings first before we are anything else. We don't come into the world and go into prison. There's levels to this, as I say.
Right.
So first and foremost, you've got to be compassionate with a sense of humanity.
You're so right. So humanity and that compassion, that awareness that we're one human family. Really we are. So thank you so much, Donna, for that. And Jerome, what would you say?
I would have, if we asked who wanted to go first, I would have said ladies first, and Donna would have went first anyway. But I hate when people go first and then they steal what I was going to say, because now I have to rethink it. If you remember last week when you asked about it, I said humanity, and she changed, she converted it to humanity, but with compassion.
Yes.
So what I'm bringing to this is truth and transparency.
Right.
The value of truth, I'm learning, is unbelievable. I mean, I did a show last night, and it was a quote that I read. It says, "Before the truth can set you free, you have to uncover the lies that hold you hostage. And because we've been so many lies been told to us, and we've been hostage by them, we don't see the truth, and other people don't get to experience the truth about what we're going through. And we need that. And transparency really means, for me, I don't want to. You don't have to tell me what you're doing. Just let me see what you're doing, and then I can evaluate it. See, they want to tell you, they want to send reports and notes, but they don't want people in there that can actually see what's going on. So we need some truth and some transparency. TNT.
Yes. Now actually, so one turn deserves another turn, I guess, because now you took the one I said last time, because right, satyagraha, truth.
Yes.
No, truth and love. So truth and love and compassion and humanity and all the things we know, and learning. I want to hold that one up, because we all make mistakes and we all can learn. We learn more from our mistakes if we're allowed to learn. If we're not, just crucified. I mean, so anyway, the criminal justice system has every kind of, it's rife with mistakes, rife with wrong thinking, bad acting, and every other thing that makes it such a toxic system, totally toxic system. Here. So anyway, so that as a start. Now, what we really need more than anything is, first of all, the reason why we're doing this show right on the heels of the last show is because on Monday, the Robert Brooks trial came to an end, and there was one person who was found guilty and two people who were found not guilty. So actually, I'm going to ask, the reason I went with Donna first is because the Haudenosaunee go counterclockwise. So counterclockwise means that Donna goes next. So I would, just with love and respect for our Haudenosaunee siblings, that's why I go around that way. But so if you want to tell us what you know about it, Donna, and then Jerome, you add in anything, that you want to add in what just happened.
Sure.
So, Donna?
Well, actually, when we got the news about the verdict, we were having an event, Jerome, and I were at the Journey to Justice bus tour at the Elam Christian Fellowship Church on Monday. And right before the press conference that we had to do, and we had been down earlier last year for the arraignment of the officers. That incensed me to the point where I got sick. I really felt like I got a punch in the stomach, because here we have on camera for the whole world to see the lynching and the murder of this young man, because that's what he was. He wasn't an animal. He was, and it still is, a man, even in death. He gave his life as a sacrifice so that we could see on the outside what happens on the inside once you become a hostage in the criminal justice. Pride, literally pride, because that sends a message that he's killing us and nothing will happen to you. Whereas this is one of the reasons why we end up in prison. If we do it, they call it murder. They take away everything and give you a life sentence that turns into death. But what they did and was saw on camera,
right?
How can you, in any conscience whatsoever, deny what your eyes have seen? To say something like that, I felt like I got kicked in the stomach, in my behind, in my head. That was the worst feeling. And then for it all to have been a subterfuge from the beginning to stop the solitary confinement law that was implemented. See, that's the part that gets me.
Right.
We went through all of that to get this law. It was passed, but you're not practicing it. And now you're going to try to use it as a means to just eradicate it altogether. You're going to try to use the death of not only Robert Brooks, but countless others before and after to say, you don't matter, your life doesn't matter. We can kill you and get away with it. And when I think about my loved ones, the people who I've come to love, but advocating for them inside, that broke me down. That broke me down. This system is going to hell in a handbasket if we don't stand up and say, no more, no more, no more. No more will you kill my son, my daughter, my mother, my aunt, my grandfather, and say, oh, there's no recompense, no compensation whatsoever. So what? You know, back in the day, they used to say, oh, that's just another one of them dead, meaning blacks. Another one of them. So, no, stand up. I love these people. Some of them have learned their lesson. They should have been home decades ago, but yet no. It's a paradigm of perpetual punishment, and they just keep punishing them for the same crime over and over again. So yeah, I'm hot as fish grease about it.
I hear you, Donna. If you hot as fish grease, whatever get hotter than that, then that's where I'm at because, we keep talking about this system, criminal justice system, criminal industrial complex. A system cannot fail those it was never intended to protect. This system can't fail us because it was never intended to protect us. So it is not broken. It is working the way they designed it to work. It is an extension of the enslavement of our people and the attempt at genocide of our people from the beginning of our journey here. And nobody wants to call it out for that. We say lynch, everybody acts like, oh, that's too hard a word. If you ever look, I'm really sick of people expressing opinions about something they don't even look up for themselves. Because if you look up the word lynching in the dictionary, it don't mean hanging from a tree only. It means when you publicly execute somebody the way they did that young man. So you're lynching people on camera, and the most insidious thing about that is the fact that if you pan that camera, at least 30, I'd say 20, 25 people was in that camera and in view of that whole incident. Not near one of them interceded, where they have a duty to intercede, and neither one of them looked or act like it was of any concern to them. It showed you that it is a culture that this was just as normal as talking in the officers' mess hall eating a sandwich. There was no care. There was no concern. Some officers didn't even look in that direction. They could hear the screams and know the beating. Why wouldn't you turn towards pain and hurt? You would turn as a human being towards it. But when you hear it all the time, when you do it as a course of action, it has not that same human effect on you. You can turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to it because it means absolutely nothing. It is a culture. You have become culturated to not feel anything when you harm people who are defenseless and who don't deserve it. I'm really saddened because not only did those two officers get away, and they used that one as the sacrificial lamb, we got two more officers who are going to be tried. And they now going to go into this with the ammunition to free themselves. I don't know anybody in my lifetime who was involved in a gang assault that resulted in the death of another human being that walked away scot-free. Not a single one. But see, we don't look at them as a gang. So it can't really. How could you convict somebody, a cop, of gang assault? They're not in a gang. Policing, military, those are the biggest gangs in the world. But we get caught with the semantics. It's like saying food, like they said, food insecurity. When somebody's starving, food insecurity don't do it. It sounds nicer, but the pain of hunger is and death is just the same. I say all that to say this. You asked us what's going on now. What's going on now from the top to where we at here in the city of Buffalo is an attempt by, I'm not going to say the right wing, because I'm going to tell you, as far as politics is concerned, I think right wing, left wing, it's the same bird. But there's an effort afoot right now by the more conservative leaning and thinking people to try to return us back to a time when they felt secure and comfortable, and not in the time now where their livelihoods are at threat, because if we let things be anywhere equal, we are just as good as anybody else. We are just as human as everybody else. And we will prosper in anything that we've given full access and opportunity to. Can't hear you. Yeah, you have your mute on.
Thank you. I was trying to strengthen up so that the connection was not getting wonky. So that for people, we're doing this on Zoom. Just by the way, that sometimes we do. Sometimes last week we didn't do it on Zoom, but this week we are. But anyway, so I was there at your event after, later in the afternoon, and I want to say it also just so upsetting and hurtful and ridiculous that it's not even that accountability would be accomplished by having those two people be convicted. However, the fact that they got off scot-free, when you think about felony murder, which we know people, actually Chuck Culhane, who was just happened to be in a car being transported as an inmate. So he was in there for doing wrong, and he would be the first to admit it. However, he happened to be transported with somebody who planned to escape, who tried to escape, who ended up getting shot and shooting somebody. And then Chuck got shot in the back of the head, but also got put on death row for felony murder of a corrections officer when he didn't know anything about it, have anything to do with it, got shot himself, and yet he was put on death row. We also have, I think I would say, I don't have to name names, but, a local leader in the community whose son was found guilty of felony murder, where he didn't know what was going to happen, or people argued about whether he did or didn't know. He didn't know. But anyway, point being, he didn't kill anybody, but somebody else did, and he was there, so he got convicted of felony murder. So here we have the officers involved in the beating, which I don't know how many. Was it 3? Was it 4? Was it 10? Did they take turns? The part of the clip I saw, and I haven't seen the whole clip because I don't need to see just to see the part of it. But you see like 2-3 people on this poor young man who is limp, who is just, you can see that he's on the way. He's not fighting. He's not barely there. He's not barely conscious. And as you said, the fact that the people walking around in the room, going about their business, nobody blinking an eye, nobody has any thought or wondering or questioning or finding anything unusual with the fact that this young man is being beaten to death for with no response, that just continued beating for no reason. That's illegal, immoral, and just so bad. So what I do...
It's felony murder, like you said.
Yeah, felony murder. So what I do want to bring up, first of all, one attorney I was talking with about this said, that there should be a law like Carriel's law for corrections officers, where it's on the books, a law that says you are responsible to stop or report or whatever you need to do to stop the bad acts of other corrections officers if you are aware of them, see them, or whatever. So that's one thing. And the other thing that and this is what's come, I hear, well, there's a couple of things. One about getting people out. So we can talk about, there's three pieces of legislation that are being proposed that will get people out earlier so that they're out of harm's way in this, as we said, just atrocious system that is our criminal injustice system. So why don't we just go around once about that, which is the Second Chance Act, the Earned Time Act, and the Marvin
Mayfield.
Right.
Can I jump in? I don't want to break hostess only tradition, but I know I'm going to forget my point if I wait too long. The point I want to make about continued about the felony murder and all that stuff is that there are two Americas, and we've known this for the longest. It's the America that some people have where they're the 1% and nothing really applies to them, and it's the rest of us who are abused and oppressed. And it's really shameful that if the rest of us understood that the boat we're in is together is not the one we should be in and rose up from that, then we wouldn't be having to have this conversation. I am sick and tired of people finding every excuse whatsoever to be complacent or complicit with what's going on. You either part of the problem or you part of the solution. Please find out what side you on. That's all I needed. I had to get that off before we talk about it.
Right. Yeah, which side are you on? That's a great Pete Seeger, I think, or whatever. It's an old protest song, and it's so important for us to realize. And actually, when we have another No Kings rally, we will make it very explicit. But in the meanwhile, I just want to mention those the Second Chance Act, the Earned Times Act, and the Marvin Mayfield Act. So if you want to tell us, either one of you, a little bit about that. Jerome, if you want to right now, you could go ahead. I know you're well versed on.
Oh no, yeah. I want to say that these laws are promoted by the campaign Community Not Cages.
Right.
And we believe that we should have full, healthy, vibrant, growing communities and not prisons that discombobulate these communities and the people in it. And One of the ways we say we can do this is by using the law to release some of the people who have been illegally held to begin with, in some cases, but more importantly, to look at people differently than the system used to look at them, understanding now the different ideologies that we understand, that there is such a thing as people changing and being better.
Right.
That you can give a kid at 16 a sentence of 50 to life, and then by the time he's 30, he has proven himself to have been a changed, mature, ready for the world citizen. Right. And there's no chance for him to ever show that because you can't get out. So something like the Second Look Act would give somebody like him the opportunity to have a judge look at, man, I thought this was a lot of time to begin with. He went to prison, is doing such a great thing, changed his life around. We can resentence him.
Right.
We can let him out earlier than the 50 years. That would have been a real waste of his life and the time.
Right.
So, something like that. And Marvin Mayfield, God rest his soul, man. Marvin Mayfield was a mentor to me because he stood up and fighting for these laws, even with impending death of his own. And he never wavered. He never used excuses about, I'm sick, I'm not feeling well. He never looked for pity. He demanded that if I could be this ill, that you can stand as tall as me, if not taller. And I really appreciate that. So I really want to give some love and homage to Marvin Mayfield, the bill to which it's named after. Now, many people who listen may not know Marvin's story. Marvin was convicted. He didn't do anything. He was, like we said, one of those felony murder casualties. You're not in the crime. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Nobody should be doing years of their life in prison if they didn't do anything, they didn't know anything, and they wasn't a part of anything. But we got guys who we know did something, was a part of something, and they got free. But Marvin Mayfield ended up getting out and dying in the street, but he spent significant amount of time in prison. So this Marvin Mayfield Act would differentiate the conjugation of a crime like that with somebody like Marvin, who didn't run when everybody jumped out the car because he didn't know what he was doing and didn't do anything wrong, would not be serving 5, 10, 15 years of a sentence. That's the short end of it. And we really need changing of sentencing laws, because as we saw with the Rockefeller drug laws, they were arcane, they were draconian, but they were punishment that had our community suffer. They took young men and women and gave them 1 to life, 5 to life, and kept them hitting them at the parole boards till they did 20, 30 years on a crime that should have never did more than 2, 3 years. This is what we're talking about. Using the sentence structure to be practical, compassionate, and realistic. That a young man at 16 is never going to make the same choices as he at 34 that he made at 16. And that should be accorded, that should be involved in that adjudication of them. And looking at who he or she is now. Donna, I ain't going to take it all. You can shoot up in there right now.
So
well, I was really enjoying listening to that. So no.
So, well, what would you add? What would you add, Donna, about either about those laws or just your thoughts about the situation, why we need them so desperately?
Because, Vicki, I keep saying this over and over and over again. I feel like I'm singing jazz music to a dead horse's behind. Up here in the state of New York, we have 62 counties. We have almost a prison for every county, and I won't even count the jail. 30,000 people incarcerated in the state of New York. We need laws and bills in place as mechanisms for release. Get our elders home. Don't let them die of their comorbidities while they're incarcerated. The ones with the longest sentences have committed some of the harshest crimes. But this could have been when they were young, before their brains were even developed. And they keep going before the parole board, and all the parole board sees is in the black and white. Oh, they did this back in 1960. Well, it's 2025 now. And it's a damn shame that we keep people held hostage for this length of time, when I'm a firm believer that it only takes 10,000 hours to master anything. Some people can go to prison after 3 years, or maybe even less after being in that abyss. They know, oh no, this is not for me. If I'm given a chance for release, I want to go out and right any wrongs that I may have done. Some haven't done anything. Like Marvin Mayfield, wrong place, wrong time. I've heard the judges say, oh, you might not have committed this crime, but you've done something, so just go sit down and do the time. No, don't accuse me of doing anything I didn't do. If I did it, I say I did it. Punish me for doing it. Don't keep punishing me over and over again, because I can never take back what I did, but I can always go forward and do better. Make sure that not only myself, but nobody else in my community makes the same mistake that I do. So we need not only these bills from the community, not cages, organization, but we need the bills for elder parole, fair and timely parole. We're
Right.
talking about a second chance or a second look. Some of these individuals haven't even had a first look. Come on, what are we doing?
Right.
Who are we playing with? We're playing fast and loose with the lives of people who are already held hostage. They feel like they got nothing left to lose. So now you take that little bit of hope. You're not going to give me a big cake in front of me and then give me a crumb and think that I'm going to sit there and be satisfied. No, I want my piece of the cake. If you don't give it to me, guess what? I know how to reach up and grab it.
So definitely elder parole and what was the other one?
Fair and timely parole. We need all of those.
So we just mentioned 5 bills. So fair and
we got more.
Elder parole.
The wrongful convictions.
Right.
This state leads the country in wrongfully convicting people.
So you know what I would also direct people to? There's a justice roadmap. So if you just Google justice roadmap, you will find it. It's part of the Center for Community Alternatives, right?
Yes.
And that has a whole slew. I mean, it might be 24 bills or something like that. I think it's like 30 bills actually, but however many number it is. I've talked, I know when we've been lobbying, a lot of times we're very particular on the particular bills, but then I always want to follow it up by talking about the justice roadmap because it's comprehensive, because so many changes are needed. So I just want to refer people to the justice roadmap and send that and tell your legislators about that. But I want to move on to another thing as our time keeps ticking along, because the way that things have gotten reported or not reported, I want to say ignored, deep sixed, it is shocking and disgusting to me the way that although it's also a matter of, what can I say? A matter of just astounding to me just how well the powers that be, who are probably the union for the corrections officers or whomever it's doing the PR for these people, it is astounding. So when Robert Brooks was murdered, was beaten to death, blatantly beaten to death, the immediate thing that happened that grabbed people were shocked. They saw the video, they're amazed. All of a sudden, there's a wildcat strike. Oh, our terrible working conditions. Oh, we can't stand it anymore. All of that. And, first of all, I don't say that they feel great. I want to say that we know that corrections officers do pay a high price because they have a misery of, moral injury. That's what we call it when people are in the military and they're doing these atrocious war crimes to people. The moral injury of what they feel when they seeing what they've done to people. They feel so bad. It hurts. It causes addiction problems, domestic violence problems. People kill themselves, everything. So it's not like I'm not saying they're a lot of happy campers. But what I am saying is when that video came out and the news spread that Robert Brooks had been so heinously killed, all of a sudden the corrections officers strike, everything changed. We did a story on that. I think, did we call it the obfuscation of the corrections officers strike or something like that, because they succeeded in changing the conversation. All of a sudden, nobody's talking about Robert Brooks. Everybody's talking about the strike and the effects of the strike and why they should have it, why they shouldn't have it. What about the National Guard? Blah, blah, blah. Went on like this. And so what happens when this verdict came down? Very first thing, what did I see in the Buffalo News? I saw, inmate violence has gone up in the past couple of months. ever since the corrections officers strike. Must be because the corrections officers don't have what they need to keep people safe. Just change the subject. Somehow they get out in front of it and they change the subject. So
yeah. Part of that is the media's fault. They do not do a service to our community. They don't do a service to even their subscribers. Because I thought that as a reporter, you're supposed to interview one side, interview the other side, do your due diligence and research, and report the facts and the truth. But that's not what happened. Let a police chief, a captain, a superintendent, a pilot, anybody can grab a mic and get all their attention except the advocates and activists who are fighting for the people who never get a voice. So that's how it goes. We have to fight for a soundbite when they get a full story, and then there's people, the public is subliminally seduced by the full story as opposed to the soundbite. And then they wonder, well, if they're not lying, why don't they have more to say? When they don't realize they don't give us more to say, so we couldn't defend it. Right. And
I think we can vouch for we have more to say.
We got receipts. They just don't want to see them because that's why you try to do what they doing now. Erase history. If I erase history, then you ain't got no receipts to say what you say because there's nothing there to show it. We got receipts. That Journey to Justice bus, that bus was here to show people. If you don't want to believe me, go in there and experience those things that show you just on a iota level what solitary is about. Everybody who went in there came out misty-eyed and discombobulated because it's torture But no, nobody's doing it about it. Vicky, the one thing I really want us to really hone in on when you talk about even if we get these bills passed, elder parole, fan time parole, we got HALT passed and it ain't implemented. What's going to stop them from not implementing any of the laws that we get successfully passed?
Thank you for that, because that's the other one we have to talk about, because there's something afoot right now, and I want to apologize that we didn't put it closer to the lead of the show, which is right now that they're trying to, and they've been working on this for some time, all through this, that they're trying to undo the HALTsolitary, and that there's something hitting in Erie County right now. So Erie County, all of the county legislators are being asked, and I believe they might be voting on it tomorrow. It's Resolution 19-5. Resolution 19-5. So people need to know. We need you to call your legislators, contact your legislators, email them or contact them to let them know that, that you want the HALTsolitary Act to be maintained. First of all, it's never been implemented. So solitary is cruel, is torture, is pure and simple. And especially for these long periods, people have been in for years in halts, in solitary. And that, people come out with all kinds of mental health problems, and it's a breakdown to a person. We've seen the experiments that people have done that show that human touch is so needed for a person. Human contact is desperately needed. Without that, babies have failure to thrive. Without that, they did an experiment where they had, I can't remember, I think could have been monkeys or mice or whatever it was. I think it was monkeys. And the monkeys could go to the one wire sort of pseudo mom that had food and water, or they could go to this terry cloth mom that has the touch of a little bit like another creature, right? It's not even a live creature. And the monkeys, the baby monkeys, were going to the terry cloth mom rather than to the getting the food and drink right? Because that's how important it is, that human contact. So to take people away from that, it's supposed to be, they call it, that criminal justice system is supposed to be getting people, reclaiming their, teaching people, inspiring people to live a better life. Instead, what it does is it grinds them into a much worse shape, much more likely to reoffend, or if they ever did in the first place. Oftentimes people are in there for no good reason. And I'm going to say the main reason oftentimes being racism, racism and the fact that most people take a plea because they see that the cards are stacked against them, and they get convicted anyway because they've got a public defender, and versus the anyway. So I'm not here. Go ahead. What would you say, Jerome or Donna? Do you want to add something to that?
I'd just like to, we as citizens, we have to get involved.
Yes.
We need to be out there because these laws that they are writing up, drawing up, and passing, like they did in that big, ugly group of bills,
right?
We had no say-so in that. We have to use our voices because these are the laws that they're going to use to govern us. We need to have a say-so in that.
Right.
It's imperative that we contact our legislators. If we can get downtown to the Franklin Street, the old county hall tomorrow.
What time?
Morning, to get there.
10 a.m.
10 o'clock, and then come back at 11:30. Show up. Show your face. Use your voices. Because if they can pass these bills and then not implement them, take them back from us, what are we out here fighting for? Why are we running back and forth to Albany, spinning our wheels? I suggest that we all get together. Come together.
Yes.
Down. Let them know that you are writing and drawing up these laws against. We want to have a say-so in how you give us the juice. You're not just going to screw me and not make it pleasant. You're going to grease me up a little bit before you give me the shaft because I'm tired. Tired now.
I'm tired, I'm exhausted too, Donna and Vicky, and you hit it. People always asking me, "Oh, well, what I can do?" Get involved, man. You don't have to get involved with CCA or HALT. Get involved with something. I'm not trying to recruit you to my campaign. I'm trying to recruit you to fight for justice for all of us.
Right.
We have so much power that we do not use or recognize. If we came together on any one issue, we would defeat all the powers that be that stand in our way, because the power has and will always be with the people. And that's why they have such a concerted effort to discombobulate the people, to separate the people, so we never realize our power and use it against them. So what Donna said, that's what I'm saying to you. We can talk until we blue in the face about what bills and all of this, but if you don't get involved and they pull off a stunt like they're doing now with HALT, then hey, we're living in Russia, Beijing. We're living in countries that don't resemble what this is supposed to be, and that's because we gave up that right. We gave up that power. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It's time for us to make our demands and stand up for them.
Amen. 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 Ashe. Ashe. So true. So we have so much to do. You're bringing up my favorite thing, and I bring it up on almost every topic. So this time I'm thinking of Attica. And this time I'm thinking of, and we did talk about it a little bit last time, I think we did, a force more powerful. Just back to, the No Kings rally. We're all in the same boat. To all of our issues are connected. In fact, the Western New York Peace Center annual dinner is coming up, and that's really the topic. Our topic is defending democracy, demanding our rights together. And we'll have wonderful leaders, four, wonderful community leaders. One internationally known, Craig McIver, was the head human rights lawyer at the UN for many years, and he lives locally. And he'll be there. Fran Parker, who's as I wanted to say, Queen of Open Buffalo. She's such a community mother, leader, Shira, absolutely of the highest order. And also Dr. Shannon Seneca and Dr. Shyam Sriram, who are really working on environmental justice and indigenous rights for Shannon Seneca, and Shyam Sriram has worked with immigration reform. And actually, he just told me he just got put on the 514 Memorial Commission or committee or whatever it is they're exactly calling it. So I'm very glad about that. I'm going to see him tomorrow, and there's a talk that people might be interested in. The new Mr. Houston is the new head or chair of the, I don't know, maybe he's the director or the chair of the committee. I'm not sure. I'm not necessarily using the right words. But that's happening tomorrow tomorrow being Thursday, the 23rd. So if people want to go to Canisius, it's at Canisius at 4:00. But there's so many things going on, and we need to be part of them. So this Force More Powerful is really about that, is about building community, the beloved community, and really, a lot of where things have been really stopped is with general strike, is with out in the street, is with, banding together. And that's what people did in Attica with all the craziness that happened, the atrocious acts, bad acts of the state that went and murdered people and then lied and blamed the inmates for the murders that they did in the confusion. But there were some improvements after that, I believe.
Right, with a bunch of them. And they're now taken away.
All been taken away again. So
listen, the things they fought for was against solitary confinement. People used to disappear in solitary confinement for years, months. You don't know if they're alive or dead. So they changed that. Packages. That was when they won the right to have foodstuffs coming from home, because the food they were given was not enough and it wasn't to their taste. Right. The visits used to be non-contact. They changed it to contact visits. Now we're going back to non-contact. The mail. They were complaining their mail were being sent to. They'd be opened up, coming and going, read. Sometimes they cut it, give you one half of it. They doing back to that. Now they're photocopying your mail and all. Everything that them brothers died and gave their life for has been surreptitiously taken back by docs again, and they thinking there won't be no repercussions. But I don't want no repercussions, because it's going to end up in the deaths of our people.
Well, first of all, we are all in this together. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We know that. And what we see, and this has been what's been very plain to me with the current administration, is that is no mystery there. So people have been safe, who felt like they were safe, you're not safe. The noose is tightening around our neck, and that's where we need a force more powerful, and we have it, and that's people power. That is nonviolent direct action. That is getting out in the street together. That is building our beloved community. That is truth and love. I gotta say, I believe that that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. That is why good, temporarily defeated, is stronger than evil triumphant. That is the direct quote from Reverend Dr. King that moves my heart every time. So that is what we need so much. So, I mean, we've got to band together. We've got to stand up for each other, with each other, every chance we get. And I'm so grateful because both of you have done that, have done it and paid mightily for it. And yet, I mean, we're getting there. I mean, we are building community. We are building awareness. We did have something like 7 to 10 or 5 to 10,000 people we had in the street. However many, there's been a lot of different estimates, but it was definitely, this is what I can say, thousands and thousands, definitely thousands and thousands by anybody's estimation that got out in the street because it is scaring us, because we see our civil liberties going down, our human rights going down. And the people who are benefiting, well, their eternal souls are not. And even, the law of karma says they will not. But yet, they think they're benefiting, and at the cost of our community not having what we need, food being grabbed out of the mouths of babes. Children, that they're just heinous things that are happening. However, crisis equal to opportunity. So I feel like we can be better. We can come out of this better if we play our cards right. And I know that the time is always right to do right. So we're going to get there. We are going to get there. So I want to go back around again. So to give you each a chance for what is the main takeaway you want people to get coming out of this, Donna, out of this show?
That we are our brothers' keepers and we are our sisters' keepers. I cannot emphasize enough. Don't forget about our mothers, sisters, wives, nieces who are incarcerated in the 3 correctional or uncorrectional facilities in the state of New York. Let's not be distracted, people, by the shenanigans that are going on in New York State or the federal government. Charity begins at home and spreads abroad. Go out into your community, make phone calls, get to know your legislators. You don't, like Jerome said, you don't have to join our organizations, but you can do something besides sit on the side of your bed and wait for this monster to kick in your door, because trust and believe, when you least expect it, someone you know, your family member, somebody you went to school with, will be incarcerated, especially here in Erie County. And all roads from the Erie County Holding Center lead to one of the 42 prisons in New York State. Thank you.
Ooh, yes, ma'am. That. What I would want to leave you with, I mean, Donna did it again, steal my thunder, but that's okay. We riding the same bus. But honestly, she said it. Listen, you got to do something, man. It is totally unacceptable to not do anything, to complain. Mr. Copeland was taught me this phrase, and I believe with all my heart. The more you complain about, the more the devil will give you to complain about. The more you praise God for, the more he'll give you to praise him for. Let's stop complaining about the problem. Let's start doing something about the problem. Let's stop waiting. Here's somebody say, we don't got no leaders. We are the leaders we've been waiting for. Ain't nobody else coming. There's no cavalry. There's no knight in shining armor. It's us. We all we got. And we got a lot and enough if we get it together.
Right. We do. We've got each other. We've got truth and love. And we know unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. So I want to say, both of you are so courageous and so determined and just always faithful, always faithful. Back to what I said in the very beginning about the gratitude. about the thankfulness. In spite of all the things that go wrong, there's so much that we have to be thankful for. And one of the big ones is each other.
Yeah.
And that we're all in this together.
Amen.
So I am so thankful for both of you. I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to work on these things together, because it feels good to do right. It feels good to work on things to make things better for each other, for ourselves, for our whole community and our whole world. And I know that's what you both do night and day, night and day. So I couldn't be more grateful. I want to say thank you so much, both of you. This is Talking Peace, and together we've been talking peace in truth and love. That's it.
That's it. It's a wrap.
Wrap. Well, thanks a billion, both of you again.
No, thank you.
Richard, thanks so much. I hope people were I hope they had a pencil and paper when we were doing that. Because there are some things like tomorrow's gathering at 10 o'clock on Thursday in the Erie County old
Court, legislative building, yeah.
Old county courthouse or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's going to be there. Anyway, okay.